Chiquinha, chiquinha.
Go check out the room.
Chiquinha.
Okay, I'm the content creator for this channel. If you like what I'm doing, just subscribe and then also hit the that little bell. That means you're gonna get notified of other videos that I do. Okay, so I got an Eritrea one. This one is kind of interesting. It's you can see the name right here. I can't pronounce it very well. Bisrat Aregai, and it's a tour in Sweden. So there's a couple of things I like about it already. So this is a pretty interesting instrument, and then you can see like you got some all these kind of instruments too that I kind of like the horns a lot that when they come in. This one is quite unique. So okay, this is it says perform disco. I don't know why it says disco. It doesn't really sound like disco, but it does have a pretty cool sound, and disco is an interesting sound too. Okay, let's go right to the beginning part and get going. So I'm going to pause it for a second. I have the link here. If you want to watch the original, you can. But it's kind of interesting, right? Like the camera doesn't move too much in this particular video, but the music is fantastic. So they kick in with some of this right here and this instrument right here. Like I've seen some interesting Ethiopian musical instruments already. So you taught me a few, Maskina and Karar. But yeah, this one is a different one. This is a whole other one that I've never seen before. It looks a little bit like really complex karar, I guess, but I don't really know. I mean, is there another name for that one? But yeah, this is pretty interesting. Like this spans touring Sweden too. Like how spread out is the population in Sweden? Who's representing Sweden? Who's out there? Representing Eritrea and living in Sweden now. That's also interesting to me too, because I think there's a pretty big community. And actually, I can actually see where people view my images too. I'll tell you about it more. I'm just going to keep playing and I'll talk about Sweden and Eritrea. It's kind of interesting. Anyway. Kind of cool looking guy. That guy looks like he's maybe half Eritrean, maybe Swedish and Eritrean. I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, I want to get back to that Sweden part real quick. So those of you that are in Sweden, is the community pretty large there? Because when I look at who's viewing my videos, I think Sweden is number 3 or number 4, and I think it's almost all a reflection of the Eritrean community. So I think it's United States number 1, Germany's number 2, and then I think Sweden's number 3 or 4. I can't remember who's the other one in there, so I think it's Sweden. Germany is number 3 and Sweden's 4. So there's definitely a lot of Eritreans that are in Sweden and that are actually viewing this page too. So and viewing this video, and I'm going to put Sweden in the title of this one too. And maybe you guys can kind of tell me about what's all going on in Sweden. And is this particular musician, does she live in Sweden, or does she live in maybe another country in Europe and touring in Sweden? Just kind of curious a little bit more information about the diaspora of Eritreans in Sweden in particular. I mean, I want to focus on any of them. So if you want to say that you're from Germany too, or wherever. That's also interesting, or United States. I think that's the biggest one for the most Eritreans. And it's a pretty big country, so it makes sense. Germany's pretty big too. So, but Sweden is like what? I don't know what it is population-wise, but I don't think it's like Michigan, the United States is like 10 million, 12 million people. I think Sweden's probably, I don't know, probably population. Anyways, let's just get right back into the video, and you guys can tell me all about it in the comments. Did you see that? I think that guy came along and kind of kicked him off the stage, I think, right? Is that happened? Yeah, he goes. Rebound. Yeah, I really love when the horn kicks in. So, notice a lot of the music in Eritrea, there's always a horn and, kind of like that right there has a lot of power to it. I want to skip ahead a little bit. Just go to the original link if you want to hear the whole song collectively. This one's a live one, so let's go a little bit. I hear him on the horn again, so I want to catch that. I guess he had microphone issues, maybe? I don't know. It sounded pretty good to me. Yeah, actually kind of curious too in Sweden, like, who is this person? Is this a pretty well-known person, or someone who's well-known in Sweden, who's well-known in Eritrea? I don't really know. I mean, it must be, her name is, and I wonder if this is kind of an older song that she's playing. So it says perform disco, but so I don't know, maybe it's just someone kind of mislabeled it, because of the music was an older song maybe, but I like that old music from Eritrea if it is. If it's not, it's still good too, so. Actually, it's kind of interesting. The hand movements, it's like this instrument you have to move quite fast, but every once in a while she'll add a little touch to it. So. Kind of makes me think about something real quick. Like, the types of instruments in Ethiopia are really interesting. So, I think the Ethiopians play it in a very particular way, so I'm just interesting, if that, like a guitar can change quite a bit with cultures, right? It changes the way people play it, the way people do things with it, it's generally kind of the same, but there's like certain different sounds that they'll make out of it, different culturally, out of a guitar, different kind of chord progressions and things like that. So I'm just kind of curious, what if you put this instrument outside of Ethiopia, like how would it change? I'm just kind of curious, because it looks like something really interesting to strum, and I don't know, it's interesting. It's right there. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's see if I can, yeah, there we go. This instrument is really interesting. That's a pretty good view right there, because it looks like it has like frets. So I don't know, it looks like you string it up there. I'm just really curious about that instrument. So usually, if you're playing guitar, I always felt like, you always had to hold those bar chords, right? And you're always doing this kind of stuff. As you get older, you're holding all those things, but this one looks like you're more like just touching the strings, and your hands kind of go in a certain way, like I don't know, like it looks like she just kind of holds it, and this is the one doing all the work, but I don't really see it moving, so I don't know, like I'm sure it is, but I don't know. Anyways, that's a really interesting instrument, so I'm gonna have to look it up and see exactly what that is, because yeah, so anyways, this video is more about Sweden, kind of fill me in about Sweden. I think it's a good opportunity to go off on that tangent in this particular video, because I think this is filmed in Sweden, so it's like kind of curious about that, and then also this particular musical instrument as well. So okay, if you have any comments about those, or something kind of connected, maybe you're from Germany or whatever, or another Scandinavian country, whatever it is, it's kind of interesting, as long as it's all right. So thanks for tuning in again. So I really appreciate having an audience while I explore Eritrean music. Chiquinha, chiquinha.